this week's episode of Let's Get Legal. Guys, we're going to be talking all about the changes under Biden's new administration when it comes to immigration. I'm so happy once again to be here with your favorite attorney at law who answers all of your questions on immigration, criminal law, bankruptcy, and so much more. Pert, welcome again to Let's Get Legal. You know, last week we talked about U visas, and we had so many people, just sending in emails and contacting your office. And, we're so happy that the information is getting out to the world at large, and you are there, of course, to help them.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. U visas, by the way, when I think we had done this episode a while back on U visas, and I got calls from Mississippi, Louisiana, Alaska, and it's amazing, people want to know, and then they find you and then they have questions.
And I'm actually amazed at that, because I was always wondering when you'd say, somebody called me from Mississippi or Georgia. I'm like, how do you work with them? Do they have to fly in? And
No, they don't. They don't. That's the beauty, right? Immigration is a federal law, so I can practice in any of those states. So as long as the client is comfortable working on Zoom, working on phone, fax, whatever it may be, they can sign on and we do the paperwork. But I always invite the client to come to the office. I'm like, hey, if you're taking a trip to New York, come visit us. I like seeing the client, and I know it's a face-to-face thing. You feel the trust, and but just because you are in a place where you do not have the attorney that you want, doesn't mean you cannot hire us, right? And we do speak Hindi in our office, and Punjabi, and we have Spanish speakers. And moving forward, we'll have other languages represented as well. But most importantly, I'm an immigrant, right? So I get what it means to be on the other side. And I understand the pain, the anguish, the excitement. And I can say 37 years later, it's not worn off. So I think that's, I feel the immigrant, that's what it is.
So let me ask you a question. You came here 37 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Give or take, yes.
So you're quite young. You're Punjabi, you're from India?
Yes, I'm Sikh, yes.
Okay.
I'm Sikh Indian, yeah.
What made you leave Punjab at the time?
So my family, my father's actually from Burma, and my mom is from Rajasthan. I grew up in Bombay, but I'm Sikh, so I'm just by ties tied to Punjab and Punjabi language, and Sikh holy site is there. But I think opportunities, right? I think it was my parents' decision. We were very young. I was 14 when they decided to leave India. And I think it was to give us, an opportunity, because in India, life was good, but, there's only so much you can grow back then. And I think they wanted to give us more. And that's how we came.
Would you happen to know when you came, how you came? Did you come with a visa or?
So that's complicated. So all I remember is my dad had to jump a lot of hoops to get us, legal. And remember, this was the days of pre-Google, pre-websites, and just a bunch of limited lawyers. So I feel like our clients these days are much more fortunate to have so much information and shows like this. And they, I love educated clients. People get scared of clients who have too much information. I love it when a client comes to my office informed and with their files, and they want to know more, because that to me means that it's going to be a great relationship. And look, my first consultation that you get, it's pretty comprehensive. So if you bring in your documents, you bring in your questions, you're going to walk out with a lot. And I encourage people to do lawyer shopping. So even though you've been to me, you can go and check out a few more lawyers, and then you can get your information. And it's like buying a car, A Subaru is not for everybody. A Toyota is not for everybody, but it may be for you. And because immigration cases last longer than most other cases, we have a relationship. So it's best that, we both want to be in this relationship. So
I have to attest, guys, that, I've personally brought people to Pert's office, and she would say, this is the information, but go check out, another lawyer, 2-3 lawyers, make your decision and come back. She's never forced someone.
I actually discourage people from signing up when they initially meet me, because
why?
Because I feel like, unless you have done the shopping and finally you've decided I'm for you, then go ahead. But I think like if I'm the first person who's ever told you about the U visa, I'm the first person who's ever told you about asylum. I want you to check that information. I want you, to verify it. I want you to go home and research it. I want you to see what may be another attorney's price packaging. You may want to do more research on me, So when you sign on with me, I want you to feel comfortable. Like, okay, this is what I'm getting. Some people prefer male attorneys. Some people prefer female attorneys.
Right.
Some people, outright will tell me that I prefer a white male. And I cannot become a white male for you, right? So it is what you...
And that magic touch, no, I'm just kidding.
And that is, that's your preference. I'm okay with it, But I want, just like I have to be, serving your legal needs for maybe in some situations 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're going to be seeing me, I'm going to be seeing you. It needs to be a great relationship both ways.
So, Pert, you were only 14 when you came here to
Mhm.
this country. Can I ask you, did you speak English at all?
Yes, I did. I spoke English, Hindi, Marathi, Punjabi, and French. And of course, I remember my dad trying to enroll me in a school, and the assumption was that I didn't speak English. So they had me tested for ESL. I remember them getting astonished at my abilities, and I remember graduating high school at 14 because I was able to test out on most of the courses. But I think what stunned them the most was that I spoke French.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Someone who's thinking of coming to America, whether they're from India, Guyana, Trinidad, being an immigrant yourself that came here at such a young age, would you recommend it?
What I recommend is I love this country. I've been in America more than I've been in India, and both countries have shaped me. But I think with all the problems that we may think that America has, I still think this is the land where anything can happen. Like, this is still where if you have a dream, it's possible. And I don't know. Yeah, yes, I would recommend it. It depends on everyone's personal situation. But it is, I think, of all the countries one can immigrate to and restart their lives, I think America is the best. I do.
So, Pert, many people out there, we all know Pert as our favorite attorney at law who answers all of our questions. But what they don't know is you used to be a school teacher.
I was a high school teacher for a long time.
What made you transition from teaching to law?
I don't think teaching was something that I did teach for America. So, and then while I was going to law school, I was, working by day, going to school by night. But believe it or not, even when I was a teacher, I was serving the immigrant community. I was teaching ESL biology or ESL chemistry. I think my love of immigrants has been there since I stepped in on this land. I don't know, something about that whole immigrant journey still fascinates me. Immigrant stories still get me teary-eyed. And I think of all the laws I could ever practice, I think immigration law is just, I think it's a happy law. You're the welcoming person, and you see that spirit that comes in immigrants, that excitement, that energy. It makes America, America. And I feel as long as I stay close to immigrants, I'm not going to be jaded. And that's why I that really is my answer. I really love immigration law. And I loved teaching. I love students. I wouldn't say I love teaching, but I really feel I was born to do this.
I believe you are.
Yeah.
Without mentioning any names, tell me the one case that you've done that has touched you the most.
Good Lord.
She's probably like, there's so
There
many.
are some. You know what? I'm a passionate advocate for victims of domestic violence. And I am so grateful for this degree and for this profession that I can say that we've made a difference in quite a few lives of women who have had some horrible, horrible past. And through use of asylum law, VAWA and U visa, we've been able to change their lives around. So I think that's a whole category of women, and I don't know if I could pick one woman over the other. They're mothers, they're brown-skinned women like me, they're brilliant women like me. Did I just say brilliant women? I guess I am
She is brilliant.
I'm sorry.
She is.
But you know what? It's that second chance, and all of those women are living their second chances, and they're all giving back, and it's amazing to see that. Of course, I've seen, I've also dealt with LGBTQ community, and to see these people who are like in cocoons and now they're living their fully realized lives. And you know what people need to understand, when people are happy, they spread happiness, they give back. And these people are giving back. And I love when they come and those smiles, and 2 years later they're buying their houses or they're buying their trucks, and life is moving on. And it's a good law. It's not for everybody, but it's for me.
Everyone who's watching at home, I'm sure you are feeling everything that I'm feeling. You're feeling the passion, the love, the sensitiveness from Pert. I mean, I'm here. You may guys not be able to see her eyes, but she's actually tearing up as we're speaking, because that's how much love and care that you have for your clients.
I do.
I know a few of your clients. You and I have had a relationship for about 4 years, and I know you've helped quite a number of people who have come through via this show. And everyone who has dealt with you has always come back and said, she's phenomenal, she's amazing, I feel comfortable with her. But besides feeling comfortable and amazing, guys, you see the results with Pert.
You gotta understand, I mean, it's a two-way street, like I said, right? It's their lives and my lives. I learn from their stories, and I love stories. I'm a storyteller, and I love stories, and immigration is nothing but stories of people that, become hopefully better. So, yeah, I mean, I would say it's not me who's doing this alone. I have an amazing staff, who are as committed and as passionate about the clients. And like I said, I'm an immigrant, a child of immigrants, Where I live today, we still have, it's white suburbia, but, you still see so many immigrants moving in, living that American dream. And I don't know what we are trying to say, but I like this, and I love what I do.
So Pert, we shared with the audience that you were a teacher. Now, I'm not going to say immigration law, because you don't only do immigration law.
Absolutely.
What other law do you do?
So in immigration, we do everything, right? And immigration law is big, and it's an evolving area of law. It's one of the areas of law that is constantly changing. Under the last administration, I would say every day it was changing. Even under this administration, you are seeing things that are coming out. So it's not a static piece of law. But within immigration, you have family immigration. You have this deportation defense. You have the appeals within that deportation defense. You have business immigration. You have employment immigration. So we do it all, right? All of that. And each area of that law is complex, intense, and multi-layered, right? So that's what we do. I have to say, again, under the last administration, just because of the volume of immigrants that were coming in and the speed at which the laws were changing, for the last 2-3 years, my practice became all about deportation defense, because I represent my clients personally. I don't send substitute lawyers. I train my clients personally. So that means for every trial, I was there, which means very, very long days, and they were pushing into 7-day weeks, literally. It was like that. So that's what we do with immigration. What people need to understand is that when you are anything short of a US citizen, even a green card holder, and God forbid you have committed a crime, could be any crime, right? The way criminal law impacts immigrants that are not citizens versus citizens is very different. The crime and punishment that is awarded to a criminal that is non-status is directly related to the immigration status. You could be deported as a result of that crime. Your green card can be taken away. So there's an area of law called crim immigration, and we specialize in that. In fact, I say if you have had a brush with law and your immigrant status is anything other than U.S. Citizen, you need to be with an immigration lawyer, someone who knows criminal law and immigration, to make sure that they can guide you right so you do not lose your green card or your ability to qualify for other forms of relief. So we do crim immigration. So in that being said, I do all areas of criminal law that would impact immigrants. So we do arson, we do rape, we do assault. I did do one murder case, but that it fell into our laps. We do a lot of assault. We do a lot of DV cases. So all of that, because all of these people that I represented had unstable or pending immigrant status cases. So we had to make sure that as we were resolving their criminal cases, we were making sure with the DA's offices, we were entering pleas that were not impacting their immigration status. Very important. The other area that we do is bankruptcy and debt settlement, right? We are in the midst of COVID. This has been out of no one's imagination what we have all lived through. Many people have lost homes, jobs, incomes. People who are doing well have crumbled. So a lot of people are looking at bankruptcies. A lot of people have accumulated debt because they were living on credit cards, but they can't pay that back. So we do bankruptcies and debt settlement as well. Those are my three main areas of law that I do. And it keeps us busy, and I don't know where we will go in the future. But all three areas of those laws are like very hands-on, very chaotic, very emotion-driven. And I think that's what I was made to do, and I think that's why I love all three areas of those laws. So if you are in need of any of those, I guess come check us out.
Pert, what drives you to help people?
I don't know. I think it's a personality. I think we're just born like some. There are a lot of I've had interns who have been great, and they. But I can just look at them and they belong on Fifth Avenue in a corporate law office. And I don't. I really don't belong in that setting. I belong in Queens. I belong in the trenches. I do. And it's just, I think it's like if I were to be a doctor, I think I would have been an ER doctor. I like the chaos. I like the emergency of it. I like that the adrenaline, the thrill. My brain works fast. I think it's just my personality, and I think it's no judgment on somebody else who wants to do that other kind of law, that corporate. I've had people, who've been wanting me to get into corporate law or real estate. It's just not for me. I mean, it's not that it's boring or whatever, but it just doesn't thrill me. It just is not my cup of tea.
You more have a passion to help people.
Yes. Help people, and it's just like I said, it's there's an immediacy about this area of law.
Pert Hora, the people's lawyer. So tell me, what is the strangest case that ever came into your office regarding immigration?
Good Lord.
That makes it sound like there's a lot more. Again.
Without making it too colorful, immigration has a lot of loopholes, so we see a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of desperation for immigrants. Remember, the last reform that hit this country was in 1986. The big, massive reform. It's 2021. We've not had a big immigration reform. We have close to, officially as per the last count, 11 million people who are without status. I feel it's far more than that. People are desperate. People have lived 2-3 decades in this country and still don't have license. They don't still have lives. They've had children and all of that. That makes people desperate, and desperate people will have funny stories, So we've seen all kinds of stuff of people trying to get green cards. Is all I can say without, getting it too messy. It gets creative. It's funny, But yesterday one of my clients who has a pending asylum application, we found won the $3 million New Jersey Lotto. That's a good story, right?
What?
So now he's calling me to find out that while his case is pending, based on the amount that he won, does he qualify for automatic citizenship? And guess what? I don't know the answer, and I haven't had time to research it. So I will look up that answer.
I don't see why he would.
Well, I guess the American goal would be to want to keep the money in the country, right? So I got to explore that. By the way, there are a lot of times you'll come to me with a question. I don't know the answer.
So do we recommend all immigrants to go out and play the lotto?
No.
I'm just kidding with you. But, speaking of people who have been here that do not have a status, who, like you said, have been here, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades maybe. What would you tell these people?
First, literally, I would tell them that see a good attorney. File a FOIA. FOIA means Freedom of Information Act. A lot of people have been here 3, 4 decades with different attorneys and different cases, and they don't even know what's been done on their behalf. Let's say a reform comes in tomorrow and everyone's on this big queue and you want to file. I wouldn't file for you until I knew what you filed previously, because I wouldn't want to contradict or make misrepresentations. So before you do anything at home and you've done nothing else and you don't have your files and it's not on a computer, file a FOIA. Make sure that every piece of information on you, you know what's been done. Then, are you a victim of a crime? The country that you left many, many years ago, have the circumstances changed and maybe you cannot return? Did you come to this country and change your religion? Did you come to this country and discover your sexuality? Does that make it impossible for you to go home? Maybe you qualify for asylum. Maybe you found somebody and now you can get married. There's still few forms of relief left, but you wouldn't know unless, and let's say there's no relief for you, then you should need to know that as well. But you need to know exactly, what you have, pro and con against you. And then you will decide, whatever comes next. But a lot of people are sitting at home, not doing anything. And then they come and I'll be like, oh yes, in 1985, I filed something. Where is it filed? I don't know. Which means in order for me to file the new case for you, I have to file the FOIA because I want to know what happened to you in 1985, and we're wasting time. So organize your documents and files and passports, so should any big law come, you are ready to go on that queue.
So what about people who, came here years ago, and I'm going to talk more about seniors, right? The older people who feel like, I'm good, I'm happy living with my son and my daughter. I'm good. I don't need to get my status, right? What do you say to those people?
I don't ever force anybody to change their status because, look, it's expensive sometimes. Number 2, if they don't have a form of relief, they don't have it. The only time I say is that if you have a form of relief, then exercise that option. Because if you don't have one, then I guess you will keep existing as you have before, and all I can say to you is keep in touch with the news or a law firm or like law pages so you know what's happening, with you. But if you're a green card holder and you can become a citizen and you're not becoming a citizen, that's not a smart thing to do, because green card holders can lose their green cards. And as a citizen, you're entitled to certain benefits, and you want to be able to do that. But I can't tell someone to go, there are clients who come to me and I'll say, okay, these are your options. And your last option is do nothing. Because some people are saying, hey, I don't want to waste money. I don't want to start something new. Or some people want to live under the radar. They're like, we don't want to be known. And in that situation, I'm like, okay, just keep doing what you're doing and keep in touch with the law, because I can't force somebody to do it. But at least they know their options. It's very important for them to know their options.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Pert, we've decided to do something new because we've been getting so much response on social media, on the emails, the phone calls into the office, that we decided to take one question, on every episode from one of our viewers. So this week, congratulations, the question comes in from Annie from Aruba. And Annie wants to know that she wants to come to America. How should she go about applying for a visa to come here?
Oh wow, that's a big broad question. I don't know Annie, but let's say if she is she just wants to come and visit America,
She wants to visit.
she can just apply for a tourist visa. In order to qualify for tourist visa, they're going to evaluate her financial ability, her past immigration history. If she has, if she wants to open up a business here, you can look at the business immigration route. But even for that, you can come here on a tourist visa, explore your business visa options, go back and come in. You could come in as a student, perhaps.
Mhm.
And this is the time of global dating. So if you're on an online site and you're dating someone in the US and, your stars have matched.
She could request
And
that.
she cannot request that, but that person would sponsor her and they would explore with an immigration attorney how she could come through that visa as well. Yeah. It's a very big, broad question, but you start with the tourist visa at the baseline.
Awesome. Well, guys, remember, if you have questions, you can go ahead and send in your question to Pert Hora's office or the email, which you can see right here on the bottom. And we will pick one question per episode to try to answer for you. Pert, again, it's been wonderful having you on. And, I look forward to the next time we're back on together.
Thank you so much, and same here.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to answering their questions.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Let's Get Legal with your favorite attorney who answers all of your questions, Pert Hora. And this week, guys, we did something a little bit different. We got a little bit up close and personal with Pert Hora herself. We got to know a little bit more about her immigration story and her successes. I hope her story has inspired you. Until the next show, let's get legal.